I had no desire to watch Train Dreams
Train
whatsoever.
Dreams, I think, is gorgeous. And mercifully, Felicity Jones is only in like
Oh God.
15 minutes of it.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Um,
good.
You know what I mean?
Yes. Oh
But
God.
I
Well,
also discovered.
by the way, that's one of the things, we keep articulating like the tenets of the pod.
Yeah.
That's one we've been forgetting to say, which is that Felicity Jones is if Emerald Fennell is like one of our least essential
These essential
directing
voices. Yeah.
Felicity Jones is one of our least essential
Essential
acting voices.
voices.
I
There
don't
you
love
go.
that these are both women, but
Well,
the facts
that's
in this case,
that's feminism.
yes,
Because, I mean, being
women
able to
are
criticize women is feminism.
yeah, women are allowed to be
Women
very
can be
bad at their
inessential.
jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
The freedom to
Yes.
do
Oh,
poorly.
listen, she's barely in it mercifully, but is like,
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the plot or the book it's based on in any way?
No. The most I've discussed Train Dreams is a friend of mine was like, "Did you see Train Dreams?" I mean, I didn't think it was as good as the book, obviously, and I was like, "It was a book."
The book.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know shit about this.
Yeah. I mean, kind of a tone poem, visually arresting, but like
Okay.
it is
What I'm
bleak, man.
what I'm getting from you is boring.
Kinda, but like it's like artful. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's such a like.
Yeah.
I get why like normies love this movie. It's very pretty. It's very sad, but I'm just like, I didn't need it. You know what I
Okay,
mean?
great,
It's like so
great.
not our tone, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Speaking of Felicity Jones, I want to add, I think there should be a bigger tent
Yeah.
for a Felicity Jones type,
Yes.
like Felicity Jones disease.
Yes.
And someone who has a terminal case of it, stage 4. I learned from watching the movie Blue Moon, where Ethan Hawke plays a maniac gay guy.
Oh yeah, another
okay.
movie that for unaccountably I have not seen. Like that, I can't believe.
Is that
I
a
haven't
Linklater
watched
film
yet.
or no?
Oh,
That
it
sounds
sure
like
is,
it's in
babe.
the-
It is.
Okay, I was like, it's in
It
the line
is.
of whatever that right? Okay.
No, and Ethan Hawke plays Lorenz Hart of Rogers and Hart, which I'm like, how have
Yeah.
I not seen this movie yet? But whatever.
Really tested me. One of my, anyway, the person with like terminal Felicity Jones disease, unfortunately, Margaret Qualley.
Oh, okay.
Say more.
I haven't seen her in anything besides The Substance.
I feel like
I
I
didn't- what
only
did-
ever see her in everything. I don't know what my feed is doing,
Yeah.
but
Yeah,
I've got quality head, quality brain.
you got Qualley brain. Well,
Yeah.
Where do you land on Qualley?
I feel like she's good. Maybe I feel like I could also be wrong. Loved her in The Substance. I also watched The Maid, not to be confused with The Housemaid. But it was
yes.
the like Netflix series based on the book that I thought was actually quite boring. I didn't finish, but she was really good and compelling in The Maid. She plays like a single mom.
Yeah. So, but
yeah,
but
I don't
not
know.
not in Blue Moon is what I'm.
No, and
What
Blue
I'm
Moon,
getting.
she's not playing that role. I think it
Yeah.
might be like a little bit of a like. I think what we talk about when we talk about Margaret Qualley and Felicity Jones, it's sort of like that black licorice effect, where it's like you're either into it or you're not. You know what I mean?
Fair.
Yeah.
Because it's a divisive taste, a divisive flavor, and
Yeah.
I'm landing on maybe I don't like it.
I also feel like, I mean, and I say this having not seen the movie, so who the fuck knows? But I feel like she has like a period face, but
Yeah.
I don't know if she has like a period like quality to her.
Style,
Yeah.
performance.
Like
She
I could
looks like someone
definitely-
from a 1940s
yeah,
like
like a pinup.
screwball
Yeah.
comedy kind of like vibe and face, but then she talks like someone who uses an iPhone.
Right.
So
Right.
it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
She has iPhone voice. iPhone voice.
She has iPhone voice. She
Yeah.
really does.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, well, maybe I'll try to watch Blue Moon too.
Also,
I mean,
1
it's not
hour.
gonna-
Also, 1 hour 40.
Okay,
So
well,
not
that's
as
good.
long. but like it's one of
Yeah.
those like bottle up, like, you know what I mean? It's like one big set piece movie where it's like all takes place in one location.
Yeah. I mean,
It's kind of like it's like watching a play.
I would assume that for me, like my interest in the subject will get me a certain amount of the way.
Oh yeah, there's lots of crazy trivia in this movie.
We'll
it's
see.
crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, like just an like, isn't it just like at Sardi's for like an hour and a half?
It's at the after party for the Broadway debut of Oklahoma at
Right.
Sardi's.
Yeah.
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 And
Very
like
specific.
E.B. White is there, and apparently this is not a spoiler, but like the movie alleges that he got the idea for Stuart Little from Lauren's Heart.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay.
You mean because Hart was like an angry little mouse? I guess Stuart Little's not angry.
He tells this like silly story about a mouse that is constantly showing up in his apartment.
Oh, okay. I mean, great. E.B. White's least essential work, but fine.
And E.B. White's like, what would you call the mouse?
Oh my
He's
God.
like, Stuart. And then E.B. White's like, with a W or a U?
Jesus
Dumb,
Christ.
whatever.
With a U. And I'm like, okay.
Okay,
So,
sure, great, fine.
Anyway, stay tuned for all of this and even more on our forthcoming special edition Oscars pod, available exclusively to subscribers.
Yes.
We're going to go through the entire Best Picture race and the above the line nominees. So tune in for that. We're recording that in 48 hours. So
Yeah.
Get into it. Welcome to Discourse Pod, the podcast where we discuss the discourse, brought to you by Discourse Blog. Jack is here.
Hello.
And on the keys and out from behind the keys, producer Sam joined us in the third chair.
Whoa.
Sam, thanks for hopping in the third chair this week.
Ahoy hoy. You're very welcome.
Hi, Sam.
Whoa. Okay, call back to the Rafi episode last week.
When he didn't say it. I thought I'd bring it in.
You know what? I was listening to that episode back the other night. That was a good episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, all of our episodes are good,
usually
but
really good. Yeah.
Our first episode about the war, really good. We had a lot of great stuff.
Yes. No, I mean,
astute.
We're good at this.
I listen to our own podcast.
I do too.
Not just to inflate the views in the listens, but sometimes for that. But you gotta listen back because when we're in it, I'm like, it's all gone. Like I don't remember a single thing until after I listen back for the edit from producer Sam.
Yes. So, you have to take your work seriously, and that means doing the instant replay.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of taking things seriously, something I seriously want to discuss with producer Sam, how perfect, was last week. There was a huge primary in your state, in my home state, Texas.
Massive.
Where James Tallarico it was like 7 points or something, 5, 6, 7 points. Triumphed over the crypto candidate Jasmine Crockett, who we have unfortunately discussed on this podcast multiple times
at length.
Well, every time Sam comes on, she's like, "Can we discuss Jasmine Crockett?"
Yeah.
She has major beef with Jasmine Crockett.
Sam, no, well, because last time it was about the Las Culturistas thing.
Oh yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
which proved prescient and accurate.
Yeah, let's revisit
given
that.
Given what transpired after, Sam, what was it like on the ground last week? What were the vibes? Who did you vote for, if you voted?
Yeah, absolutely. On the ground, I will say I love early voting. I know that that's not a thing in New York, right? Am I making that up?
It is now.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Well, it's only recently, actually.
Okay.
Like in the last couple of elections, right, Jack?
Yeah. It's like the last 4 or 5 years.
Okay, yeah.
Pretty
nice.
recent. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Well, it's because I remember the 2016 presidential election. I did like a mail-in ballot for Texas, but everyone can only vote like on the day of. And so that's when I saw everybody's stickers. The energy was, well, we know how that went, but the energy at the time, seeing everybody's stickers in the subway was so exciting. Yeah, I don't know. It's where I live in Texas. I live in a very like mixed somewhat liberal conservative area. I would consider it to be like a swing county. Generally speaking, Williamson County, I know that like we voted for Joe Biden in 2020, and that was after like being reliably Republican previously, and so that was exciting. I mean, I suppose you know, everything's on a spectrum, right? So, having voted in this election, I don't know, felt kind of run of the mill. The big thing that I, kind of have in mind instead of like really who I'm voting for is like how I'm going to end up voting because, or I guess the process of voting, because our legislature is constantly trying to undermine democracy here. And so, for example, the previous local election I voted in, they had taken away all of the digital ballot, what is it, like the ballot counters, so we could only vote by hand. Like the year was 1910. I probably had to like
every vote by hand.
Yeah. There was like no way to, I think actually there was like a digital like submission, um, like computer, like a scanner for all these ballots to go into, but you had to like selectively by hand bubble in who you were voting for. Like we didn't have digital machines for that.
We've always had that. We've never had digital voting.
Oh, really? Okay. Well,
yeah, we still do that too. Paper ballots, baby.
When you take something, when you give something and then take it back, I feel like that's really what my like.
Wait, you mean to tell me you had like you had a touch screen experience for voting before?
Yeah, and actually I did have it again this time, and I had an option at my precinct. You could either fill it in by hand or you could use the touch screen.
Okay.
Yeah, see that makes me paranoid. The touch screen stuff.
I suppose no,
I would be hacked.
That's okay, but here's what happens though. You feed the paper, like you still get a long ass paper ballot. You feed the paper into the computer. You touch your, you touch your options. It tells you your options. It makes you confirm, and then it spits it out, and all your physical options are printed on the paper.
So you can check.
Yeah. So, and I checked every single one just to make sure, I don't know, because I get it. I get, the feeling of, what if it selected something that I wasn't voting for? Another thing too, though, is that we have closed primaries. So like you can't vote for like a Republican candidate in Texas, like for that specific position or whatever position you're voting for. So like even if it was that I was I guess I'm less concerned if it was that like in Texas I'm voting for a different Democratic candidate because first of all, our chances of winning for the Democrats are pretty low in the first place. Now I'm just kind of getting into the minutia of like, can we do it? Can he turn Texas blue? But yeah, I felt like the energy was like pretty palpable among the other, 50 to 70-year-olds that I was lining up against, the people who like love to prioritize early voting. But yeah, I don't know, it like most of what I was gauging of like how other people were feeling was online. I personally voted for James Tallarico. I also, like, full disclosure, he's a local politician to me. He like went to he went to high school with like one of my friend's sisters. Like this guy, yeah. This is not my story to tell, but I guess like he was in theater growing up, and I remember one of the stories is that like he's got big ears. And like one of the like they had a sign language interpreter for the different characters for I think they were doing like Into the Woods or something, and the sign for Jimmy as he went at the time was like this to signify like the bigger character is talking. So yeah, lots of very sweet. Yeah, it is. But then also like I don't think I have actually ever had the opportunity to vote for him just by the way that where I've been living and the way that like our districts are split up, like, but I have always supported like what he's doing at least like in the legislature. And so that on top of I don't know, like all this like influencer input, if you will, about like first what James Tallarico said about Colin Allred, and then what he allegedly like what Jasmine Crockett's response to that was, and then what Colin Allred's response to that was, and then
remind us what he said.
What was this scandal?
Okay, so there's someone on TikTok who was a big supporter of his, um, who had a like private meeting with him essentially. There's no recording of this, but they like have text messages like with a staffer of his to like share that like they were actually there. He allegedly called Colin Allred a mediocre black man. Again, there's no other recording of this, or there's no proof of this besides like the word of this one staffer. I will say, like, looking at like the Tallarico camp's response, it does like there was not an explicit sentence of like he did not say that, but the statement was overall like he's specifically speaking, or like any comment he made was specifically about like the campaign that Colin Allred previously ran, and was like nothing to do with this person's character. And so that then sparked this like,
that's not a no. Not a no.
It's not a no. I mean, I will say again, also as a Texas voter, I did think that Colin Allred ran like a really mediocre campaign, and he's not somebody that I was energized to vote for. And in fact, I think maybe I didn't vote for him because this was an election that I necessarily.
But you wouldn't have said he ran a mediocre black campaign.
No, that's true. No. I would not have said that.
It's that one little
that one part that's like.
It is. And then this, again, like, and I think part of it too for me was that like I do believe what this influencer is saying. Like, I've got no reason to think that somebody would lie about this, other than, to think that like maybe there was like some misunderstanding about what was said. But I also don't, that's like being very honest. Like, yeah, I'm voting for somebody who may have said this, but I also comparatively like seeing the opposition and knowing Jasmine Crockett and knowing her campaign and her lack of, I think, I guess I would call it like her lack of structure and vision. This was like a chance that I was willing to take, which, really doesn't sound great. I mean, it's not great to be voting for somebody who may have said something like this, but I also think in the long game of like where we're at in Texas politics, like these are the decisions that I'm willing to make specifically.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you made what felt like the right decision for you on balance, like, given your options. Jack, you were about to say something?
Yeah, I just have two like things that I saw out there about the race. The first one is this Politico story. This L is on her. Black lawmakers and strategists dump on Crockett. And here's like one quote from this. People who don't understand politics will be upset because Jasmine was their hero, said Texas State Representative Jolanda Jones, a Democrat. But for people who understand politics, Crockett literally had no ground game. This L is on her. And the second thing that I wanted to drop in was this tweet from terrible conservative commentator Eric Erickson from last night.
Oh yes, I saw this today.
In which he says, "Has the press, which has fawned over James Tallarico, not brought up his sexual because they're afraid he'll end up like Buttigieg with non-white voters?" And so my two questions are: A, did you sense the like lack of like a real campaign infrastructure from Jasmine Crockett that people are mentioning in that piece, just in your own, in the way that the campaign was reaching you or people who you knew? And secondly, is James Tallarico like a Pete Buttigieg type, not in terms of like being like this gay white guy, but just in terms of like, is that where he is on like the political spectrum? Like, who is he, in terms of how we should understand like the campaign that he's going to run in the fall and the kind of candidate and the kind of senator he might be?
That's a great question. I did feel that, let me talk about what I did see from Jasmine Crockett, which is like, in Texas, everybody loves to like put up their highway signs or their intersection signs. I really didn't see a whole lot physically of her presence. I know that she, was at the Austin Capitol, and this was like around the ice raids in Minnesota, but also so was James Tallarico. There wasn't really necessarily anything that was like campaign focused there. But then the things that I saw a lot of were like these very, I mean, they're not strange, whatever, but there were these almost attack ads on James Tallarico, but they were like ads that were for her campaign. So the argument was like, these Republicans hate her and they're scared of her. And then there was a frame, and I saw this like multiple times, like both watching like a live broadcast and then also like streaming. But it was this like side by side of like Greg Abbott, Trump, and then to the right is James Tallarico. Like in this this photo collage. Of course, a lot of the language is like, I'm gonna fight for Texas, like I'm a fire, like she's leading into this fire brand itself, but less about like, reasons to vote for me as opposed to reasons to not vote for this other person. Um,
Kind
regarding
of a
like
classic lib dem playbook.
yeah, which like in Texas it's like very easy to want to feel like that's the way that you have to like protect your vote, and like that's all the power that you do have, is that we don't get like a Beto O'Rourke is like, I don't know, once in a blue moon. And at this part of like Texas politics, like things are so different than they were, 20, 30 years ago, that like having somebody who is going to like have progressive politics, but then also like articulate them and express them in a way that feels like they are like that you were in this fight together, like like Bernie, like someone like him. That's really hard to come by. And I don't necessarily think that like James Tallarico is Beto. And in fact, like my politics on Beto are that like I hate him now at this point. Like immediately when he ran for president, I'd make this, very well known, like he was a traitor to me, because at this point, like you don't care about Texas, you care about your profile. Like, and it's such a vanity thing at this point. But with James
including a Vanity
Tallarico.
Fair.
Yeah, literally. It's such a vanity affair, if you will. But he, James Tallarico, he's not a Beto, that's for sure. But I think that he, like his specific platforms, they're a lot less progressive than I would prefer. Like during their state town hall, like he did not say that he wanted to defund ICE. He did not say that he wanted to destroy ICE, or abolish ICE. But he did have other, like, his whole positioning is that like we are being pitted against each other, against billionaires, and that the real power like should be, top to bottom, not left versus right. And so like in that way, his like message, and also his like position is very much, even if we're not totally in agreement with each other, like these are the people that we need to take on. And I do think in that way it's very like galvanizing. It does feel very like unifying. It does feel very like this isn't like a war that I'm leading, like this is a war that we are going to, to pursue together. And I use war is an ill-timed term here. But when it comes to Texas politics, like everything is kind of a uphill battle. So in that sense, like I don't think that he's a Pete Buttigieg. I don't think that he's like a very like complacent, middle of the road, like cares about like the actual like bureaucracy of like assault on democracy, as opposed to like the actual assault itself. Like I do believe that he actually does care about like making the health care more accessible to people, like stopping immigration raids. But I wouldn't consider him to be like a Texas progressive's wet dream. That's for sure. I'm picking my battles where I can. And like, for context too, I'm not somebody who's going to vote for someone just because they're running. I do not vote for unopposed candidates. Like, you'll be doing fine when the time comes. And when the time comes, like, I'll see if I actually do want to vote for you. I understand the kind of like energy that Jasmine Crockett brings. I do understand like where she feels that can like catapult her, but and I'm not in a place where other people are, where they're like, oh, she's definitely just in it for herself and all this other stuff, but I don't feel convinced that she's in it for like this longer game, I guess is where I'm at.
So like it feels like we return to this place every couple of years. This place being, is this the year that like Texas flips? Like, is this the one? And it never happens. Didn't happen with Beto 1 million times. Didn't happen with Wendy Davis. Didn't happen, it hasn't happened for decades. What is your assessment of like the actual like viability of James Tallarico to beat whoever emerges from the Republican runoff? Though it's possible that one of those candidates will drop out. Trump has asked them to consolidate the field. Like, do you think that it is actually a possibility? And do you think that the Democratic primary, which obviously like has been like difficult, particularly along the lines of race and gender, like, do you think that has put that will be like a significant complicating factor in the effort to actually flip the seat?
That's also a great question.
Thank you.
I think that, I mean, if it's against Ken Paxton, like, I think like absolutely there's a good chance, only because like he's got like terrible, I guess he's a terrible person. He's reviled even within like the Texas GOP. I mean, there's a reason that Trump is asking him to step down, so that way there is a clearer path and there's like less time dedicated to this infighting. I've also, I mean, this is also part of what I was frustrated about, is like literally until what, Tuesday night, I was like, why have we had no sort of like information about this like little like tit for tat whatever might be happening between John Cornyn and Ken Paxton, because there's no way that it isn't happening. It's just that like this is not where like the air is coming from. But now like we're absolutely seeing it. But I do think that, I mean, I knowing what I know, in that, you have to give people something to vote for. You can't just say that you're not Trump and therefore, people are going to vote for you. Even with that, the way that things are going, like, it's very clear that, like, what Trump is doing on immigration, what he's doing on foreign policy, like his support, or I guess his like continued, like, I mean, now just like support of like Israel, and like, I guess working alongside and making sure that we're, bombing Iran, that we're like bombing Palestine. Like, these are not, they're so unpopular even to people that you wouldn't typically think are against these things, that like I do think that that is working in their favor, or I would think that this is going to work in their favor. The people considered swing voters in Texas, like, they're not interested in this. They're not interested in supporting this. So that would be my hope. I mean, I think back to, like, I was very shocked that Joe Biden won in 2020. And I guess, like, I just didn't, and my cynicism was overpowering the logic part of, like, yeah, people don't like what's going on. They don't enjoy this. And this is, like, one of the few ways that they do feel that they actually have power. And the other piece, too, though, is that, like, I mean, that could have also been the case said of, like, Beto and Ted Cruz in 2018, that, like, people aren't appreciating Ted Cruz's, for lack of a better word, like kissing Trump's ass, and like are really disappointed with the way that like immigration rates are going. But, that didn't bear out. And I also think that like the Beto campaign did like a really good job of like at all just like voter galvanizing and registering people. But then like I also remember there was like some sort of thing where they like sold that information to the Democratic Party, or the Democratic Party sold that private information, and like they were starting fresh. Which is really disappointing. But I think, I don't know, I find myself like remaining cynical that this will happen, that like James Talerico will be able to win even against John Cornyn. And the only thing that I can think that might make some sort of difference is if we go back to that grassroots, going to every county, going to every town hall, like making that sort of local impact. Another thing too is that, like, yeah, John Cornyn didn't lose against, I'm trying to remember who ran against him, and she was actually somebody who was like the aunt of somebody I went to high school with. But yeah, he didn't lose then, and so I don't know. I remain cynical, but I guess like you have to be hopeful if you live in this state. Otherwise, it's like, what's the point?
As someone who doesn't live in your state, we can't predict the future, but I feel like remaining cynical is probably a good idea.
Yeah.
Just based on the last 30 years of history, at least.
Give or take. Yeah.
I just looked up last election for John Cornyn, he was up against MJ Hagar.
Oh yes, that's who it is. It was MJ. Yeah.
Yeah. Wasn't that one of their like troop candidates?
Yeah, and she had like one of those fancy ads where like the cockpit turns into a classroom or something like that. Like I want to say, I also want to say she might have had the same ad team as like AOC, or I could be wrong, but like there was a whole hubbub about that.
What did she lose by? 15 points? 20 points?
10 points.
10 points. Okay. Yeah. Better than I would have imagined.
Better, but still,
10 points is 10 points.
10 points is 10 points,
Yeah. Guess we'll see.
How close was Beto? He was pretty close, right? Or closer than it could have been.
Yeah, very close.
Let's see, I forgot. Let's see, 2018. Yeah, like 1.5 points.
Yeah. Disappointingly.
So maybe we'll see something like that this time. Or maybe like history will be made. We are living in incredibly tumultuous times. And times when like crazy things happen.
Yeah.
It's all to play for.
It is. Yeah. I don't know. We participate in these little fun games is what it feels like. Is like we get like a little token, and then you like bring the token to the claw machine, and then the claw machine, like reliably the springs are broken. And yeah, I would say that is my metaphor for how it feels to be a Texas voter. And then there are like fun things that happen. Like, for example, by fun, I mean like positive. I've got somebody that I work with at my daytime job. She's on the Liberty Hills School Board. That's like one of these districts up north here, these school districts. And like she's now, on this lawsuit with other school board members from Leander and Round Rock, because they're being sued, I believe it's by Ken Paxton, because they're not putting up the 10 commandments. And I'm like, local elections matter. I'm glad that the person that I work with is on that team, because like she's got her head screwed on right. So like, better, fun things can happen locally, but it does, at the very least kind of feel like I'm constantly just waiting. Maybe I'll cut this in the edit, just more metaphors for how I feel as a Texan.
Listen, these days you gotta take your wins, or you can find them. That's where we're at.
Speaking of local politics and people with their heads not screwed on right, Jack, what do you know about your absolute number one fave journalist, Olivia Reingold, and her absolutely barn burner of an expose about New York City's new first lady.
I usually try not to comment on people's personal appearances, and especially like as a man, like I don't want to comment on the personal appearances of women. God, I'm being so hard on women this entire episode.
The day after International Women's Day, you gotta take them down a peg. You've had too much.
God, my mother will not be happy with me. Luckily she's not watching this. But
she could be listening.
She could, yes. But in my defense, Olivia Reingold of the Free Press, everyone's favorite Barry Weiss rag, is a despicable person. Last seen doing some real investigative journalism about whether or not babies in Gaza were starving. Spoiler alert, they were starving. And they still are. Her big contention was, well, some of them were already sick from other things before they started starving. Because,
mods on war.
If you have a cold or something, you can't, and you starve, then it doesn't count. So that's like real, like evil, like Nazi shit. To like push something like that. So I'm like, okay, that gives me permission to observe that if you watch the the video that they put out of her most recent foray into so-called investigative journalism, this one about the Instagram likes of Rama Duwaji, Zoran Mamdani's wife, the first lady of New York City. I was alerted to this, piece of so-called journalism because everyone was like, this is disgusting. It's all about, trying to nail Rama for liking pro-Palestine posts over the last couple of years. Like, oh my God, big crime. The only thing I could think of was, who did that to your lips? If you watch the video, let me find this.
You gotta drop the link.
Here, let me see if I can try and do a proper screen share. Let me see if it'll let me do it.
I have not seen this. I've only heard of the content.
All right, here we go. Found it. Okay, just look at that.
Oh. Okay.
I was just like, for people who are listening and not watching, it's like whatever filler, whatever procedure she got on her lips, it makes her look insane.
There's also jaw filler going on here.
Yes.
Yeah, she got masseter Botox or something.
Yeah. And this part, she must be in her 20s, I think.
I was gonna say she's doing the thing that young conservative women do, where they make themselves look 20 years older.
Yes. So I was
how old is Olivia Reingold?
I was mesmerized in horror by the weapons grade lip filler that she had opted for. But once you get past that, the content of this so-called expose is equally repellent. The whole thing, which is a lot like her previous reporting, where it's she went back through Zoran's posts and was like, oh, he liked this, he liked that, which there's a lot of people being like, that's not journalism. What are you doing? That I do not subscribe to that specific view. Going through someone's social media activity, it's 2026. Social media says a lot about who you are. There's nothing inherently wrong with like combing through people's history to try to get a sense of who they are as a person or who they are politically. However, like it just so happens that if you are like a pro-Israel fanatic, then you're going to go after people in a way that makes you look extremely stupid and gross. So she's like, oh my God, like she liked to post saying that like Israel's an apartheid state. She liked to post like pointing out that like October 7th didn't come out of nowhere. She liked to post comparing like a notorious like Israeli prison torture chamber, gulag, whatever you want to call it, to a concentration camp, which like Olivia Reingold said was an example of something called Holocaust inversion, which I have to admit I'd never
that's a new term to me.
Yeah, that is a new one.
But all it means is if you're like, oh, this thing that Israel's doing sure seems a lot like what Nazis did in the Holocaust. I mean, some people might say that if Israel didn't want to draw comparisons to Nazi behavior during the Holocaust, then it shouldn't have built its society on a foundation of apartheid and genocide. But, you know,
you're hearing it more and more.
That's for another day, I suppose.
Right, yeah.
Okay, I found Olivia Reingold's LinkedIn. Try to guess her age. Her first job, at least listed on LinkedIn, she was a White House intern for it looks like a summer. Do you want to guess who for?
God, you know, I want to say Barack Obama.
No.
George W. Bush.
Steny Hoyer.
Steny Hoyer. Okay, you said White House aide, not congressional aide.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Congressional aide. Sorry.
Okay. Steny Hoyer. Okay.
Steny Hoyer.
Steny Hoyer, one of the biggest like pro-Israel crazy people in Congress. Not that there's a lot of competition for that title.
Right.
Yeah, obviously. She was his intern from May 2014 to August 2014. Then she was a fellow for NPR for 1 month. Then she was an intern.
Not a good fit.
Intern at Georgia Public Broadcasting, and then she interned again, local TV in Atlanta. Oh, she went back to Georgia Public Broadcasting, where she was an intern and then was promoted to a producer. Wow. She was a reporter for something called Report for America. Don't know what that is.
Yeah, that's like they like send
like
reporters
a
out to
it's a reporter. She was a reporter for Yellowstone Public Radio.
Okay. Wow, she really loves public radio.
Then she worked for 4 months at the Skim.
Oh my God.
As a podcast producer. Then she worked at Politico. Mm-hmm. She was the lead producer on Politico's new flagship podcast, Global Insider.
Right. Oh yeah. Yeah. Probably the one podcast we're more popular than.
Then she worked at Grid, where she was a lead podcast producer for the transgressive political podcasts hosted and co-founded by one Matthew Yglesias. And now she's a staff writer at the Free Press.
Okay. I did find her graduation year for her undergrad.
Yeah.
2017. So she's a year younger than me.
2017.
So she's 32.
Early 30s?
Or 31.
32. Okay.
I'm 32.
Okay.
I don't know anything.
Oh, she also went to Columbia Journalism School.
For her master's.
Yeah. They'll take anyone, trust me.
Yeah.
You know, that is...
We're learning a lot.
You know, I'm not going to be like a resume snob or anything like that. The only thing I would say about that is that's a hell of a lot of internships and not a lot of like actual jobs.
Okay. Yeah. I found on her, for some reason, the Oglethorpe, I don't know what university this is, but Oglethorpe website clarifies that her little NPR internship was a Next Gen Radio 1 week digital media workshop. So that's why it was 1 month. Not to, I rescind my previous not a good fit comment.
So it sounds like the equivalent of when celebrities are like, I went to Harvard Business School. And they did like a weekend course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Incredible stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's really says something about where we are as a society that the way that she has risen to prominence is not through like years of diligent work at various public radio stations, but is doing genocide denial for Barry Weiss. I mean, kind of says it all.
No, and also says quite a bit about any skeletons hiding in Zoran and Rama's closet. Like, this is the best it can trudge up.
Yeah.
Like, it has been sort of comical to watch.
It's tweets,
like,
yeah.
New York Daily News, The Post, really just sort of like fishing from the corners of their bags for anything. And it's more comical than each more comical than the last.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Mamdani was like, my wife is not a politician. Like, this is not his story. I guess he's now been helped by the fact that there was an ISIS bomb scare outside of his house over the weekend. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
there was like an explosive device and everything.
Yes, like
a white supremacist rally outside of Gracie Mansion.
Yeah, a white supremacist rally like turned up outside Gracie Mansion, not walking distance from me. And then some counter protesters showed up, and then apparently like two guys who freely admitted following their apprehension, like that they are like lovers of ISIS, like attempted to like set off an IED in the middle of the Upper East Side.
What the hell?
And the bombs like did not go off. But now like they are in custody, and apparently they've been like, yeah, that was us, and we wanted to like be like ISIS, and we wanted to do like a Boston Marathon style like attack, but in New York City. I don't know what exactly we're supposed to make of like all of that, or what it says about like where we're at or how this is going to like unravel politically. But yeah, it's been a weird few days, for Islamophobia and violence and lots of other things in New York City. But one thing is clear even through all of that fog, which is that Olivia Reingold fucking sucks.
Ayo.
And you heard it here first.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
we're sound proud.
And she needs to like step back from the filler.
Should we move into everyone's favorite segment of every episode? Cultural Rex?
Yes, let's do it.
Jack, do you have anything this week?
I have one cultural recommendation, and that is watch the Discourse Pod Oscars special, airing, I believe, this Friday.
This week? Sometime this week?
Is that right, Sam?
You know what? Sam? Yeah, it's Friday. It's okay. Friday. It's airing Friday.
It could be Friday. It'll definitely drop before the Oscars this Sunday.
Yeah.
Yes.
At some point. No pressure to producer Sam. It has not been recorded.
Yeah. Maybe we'll be a little vague so that
Friday sounds correct.
So that the anticipation builds, so that you have to check every day. Oh, is it today?
Yeah.
Is it today?
Yeah.
I feel like it's safe to say, the possible exception, and even not really, like I'll admit it, of the annual Bake Off recap. There's no better Discourse pod than the Oscars pod. We all like prepare for it like we're running a fucking marathon.
Yes.
Everyone tries to bring
very seriously.
Everyone tries to bring their A++ game. It's got so many of your faves are going to be on it. You know, I cannot recommend it highly enough. I can't wait to record it a little later this week. And you'll get to hear what we think about every single Oscar movie worth caring about and a bunch that aren't worth caring about. Cough, cough, Frankenstein, cough, cough.
Tough.
A little sneak preview for you.
Inevitably.
And if you want to get a taste of what, if you want to taste of what it's like, you can listen to last year's. It was a great time.
It was. It was.
Even though 90% of the movies were absolutely miserable to watch.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that maybe this year's a little better. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that and so much more.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Sam, do you have anything this week?
I've never watched Breaking Bad. So I've just finished watching Breaking Bad for the entirety from, tip to tail, as they would say. Yeah. And man, that guy's crazy, you guys. Yeah, what's going on with that guy? That guy is breaking bad. He's breaking pretty bad, yeah. So that was great. Great, yeah. Fresh eyes.
Okay. Wow, that sounds like a real rave, Sam. Whoa, that guy's bad.
That guy's pretty bad. Yeah, they're right.
You got to miss the whole discourse surrounding that show when it was airing around. Why won't his bitch wife just let him cook meth?
Do not worry though, because that was like the second thing I said to Christian, and he said, "Well, would you believe that people were also upset back then?" And here's the thing.
Didn't she write? I feel like I remember her.
He wrote an op-ed for the New York Times about it. Yeah.
Ooh. And it was like in defense of my poor character. Like,
yeah.
Okay. Here's the thing. If you're going to write a terrible character, you have to own up to it. Don't blame it on, okay, it's really you that you're the misogynist. There's nothing wrong with me over here portraying a woman this way. Because then he also wrote, what is it? We're now starting Better Call Saul, and there's, a female character, like a client at the very first episode. It's like the plot line where like these people embezzled like $1.7 million, and the wife is like really hard up about wanting to like keep this money or whatever. And again, I'm like, poorly written female character, and then you go and complain, like, why does everyone hate the women that I write? I'm like, maybe stop writing terrible women. I don't know. Just like, maybe find a way to write women better. This is on him. This is on, I forget who the, Vince.
Vince Gilligan, you're on notice.
You are. I mean, she still doesn't improve. Even after fourth wave feminism, I still don't like Skylar. So that's on him. I don't know.
Damn. Shots fired.
Maybe you can have like an on notice like stamp thing that like pops up on the screen there.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
On notice. A really dramatic like sound. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like we're often putting people on notice. This is a necessary graphic and an audio clip, I believe. Okay.
We should have like a running list, or like, we got to work on our soundboard. We got to come up with a great visual for our tenants.
Yes.
Because I'm always forgetting what our tenants are.
Yeah, we have to have to get a little more systematic.
It's Martin Luther's 95 theses, like, gavel to the church or whatever.
That's right. Yeah. And these will have just as big an impact.
Oh, absolutely. Totally. I mean, a schism is inevitable. That's, schism between who, I'm not sure, but,
Well, between like the people who Felicity Jones stands and the Felicity Jones haters.
The Fennell heads and the Fennell haters.
Yeah.
Ugh. God.
Well, time will tell.
Alex,
that's my recommendation.
What are your cultural recommendations?
My cultural recommendation this week was inspired by our glorious weather we've had here in the New York City area. It's sort of like this weekend, it was warm, but it was like still kind of cloudy. You know what I mean? It's still bright, but like it felt warmer, but it was still cloudy. And it reminded me like, man, I wish the sun was breaking through this, but I'm okay. I'm okay trading, some warmth for some cloudiness. If this is what it takes to get it, I'm fine with it. And when I'm walking through that kind of weather, I think of Europe. I think of London. I think of what it's like there all the time. That's what it's like there all the time. It's always a little gray, even when it's sunny.
Yes.
Which makes me think of the band The Sundays and their 1997 album Static and Silence. A great soundtrack to that kind of warm but cloudy weather. If you haven't heard it, give it a listen. And that's it.
Love that.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Discourse Pod. Please remember to like and subscribe wherever you listen or watch us, if it's right for your family. And if you're a subscriber, remember that you can head to discourseblog.com for an extended version of this episode with special bonus content, special edition episodes, and all of our written blogs. You can also link your subscription to Spotify and watch the extended episodes there. Come back next week for another episode. Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Sam.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Discourse Pod is a production of Discourse Blog. I'm your host, Alex Chan. Jack Merkinson is my co-host. Our producer, editor, and art director is Sam Grasso. You can listen to every episode of Discourse Pod at discourseblog.com, on the Substack app, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.